the most profoundly discrete hindrance on this path is the most camouflage, in my opinion, the most camouflage thing on this path is the fact that we think we know. And you might say, well, know what? That's it. We just think we know. Like, it's just the cognition or the belief that we know something, anything that we actually fundamentally know. And some people may be confused as to what I really mean, so maybe let's go a tiny little bit into more detail on that. If I ask you to tell me about something that you know, you would say something in your experience. I know that there's a computer in front of me. Or you might say, I know that the sun is hot. Or you might say, I know that flowers smell beautiful. Or I know that I'm a man. Or I know that I'm a woman. Everything that you think you know, right, on that level, which goes anything knowable, we make the grand assumption that we actually know it. The it. This is the thing. Know it. What is the it that we appear to know? We think we know it, right? When we say, I know it. Yes, I know it. You told me the truth, I know it. I already know it. You told me this, I already know it. You said this, I already know it. The sun is hot, I already know it. I know it. It. What is the it that we think we know? This is the most discrete problem on the entire spiritual path. The separate self always thinks it knows it, thinks it knows the it. I know it. I know what I am. I know what I'm not. I know it. What is the it that we're supposed to know, right? Let's take examples. I know, and this is going to make a much bigger impact, so just listen, just hear me out here. If I say I know whatever I think I know, I'm making the assumption that I know what it actually is. So if I say I know the sun is hot, I make a claim that I have factual evidence that the sun is hot. But the reality is that we don't actually have factual evidence that the sun is an actual substance that is hot. We make assumptions that we are capable of knowing things that we do not have factual evidence as to whether they are true. Now, some people say, well, I obviously have factual evidence as to the sun is hot. I get that. I understand what you mean there, yes. On one level, we can make a claim the sun is hot. But the reality is, what I'm saying is the sun an independently existing object that has heat, and then the heat is an independently existing experience or sensory experience that exists outside of our mind? Because when we say, I know the sun is hot, we claim that the sun is an independent object with independent autonomy and exists outside the human mind. That's what we're claiming to know. Because if we knew it truly, the question would be, is it really an independently existing object that exists outside the mind that shines light and heat at another independently existing object, making that other independently existing object hot? You see? This is a whole conceptual story that we do not have factual evidence on. We have to see that. That's all based on concepts. The only experience we have of the heat of the sun is the sensation of the heat of the sun. It's the only knowledge that we have of whatever we would call the sun. We don't have factual evidence of the sun. Even if we look at the sun, all we see is light. Light is synonymous with the heat. If there was no light, there would be no heat. If there was no heat, there would be no light. And we already know by science that you cannot see colors don't exist in the sun. Colors don't exist in anywhere. Color isn't in the sun. If you look at the sun, what you see isn't color. You see? You think you see color, but you don't. Color is a creation of our mind. And what we find is sensation is also a creation of our mind. And what we think we seem to know is the it. The it is the sun as an independently existing object that has its own existence. Or we know that flowers smell nice. or we know that there's a laptop in front of me. All I know of the laptop is the colors. I never see a laptop. The laptop is a concept overlaid onto a bunch of colors. The colors themselves, they don't exist in the laptop. There's no relationship between the color and the actual laptop. So what is it that I'm seeing is the question. It's not a laptop, right? If I'm watching a movie and I see the tree, yes, I can create the concept that there's a tree, but I'm not really looking at a tree, right? You'd be delusional to think that if the tree is in the movie that you're actually seeing a tree. Well, what I'm sharing right now is that the biggest hindrance on the spiritual path is these forms of assumptions. We look at life in the same way that the old Indian tale where they had the cinema and the tiger runs towards them in the movie. It's the first time they've seen a movie and they run out of the cinema thinking the tiger's going to actually get them. We live life in the same way. There are things we think are actually there that aren't there, but we think we get it. We think we know it. And then we get to a point where we think we have a spiritual awakening, and then that too we think we know. We think, I know what I am. Oh, I'm infinite, or I'm God, or I'm reality itself. But the thing is if we're still suffering as a result of that, somehow to varying degrees, then we clearly don't know it, right? Clearly that's a memory, that's a concept that we've adapted. So there might have been a legitimate experience that give us the clarity. Oh, that's it, right? We think we know the it. We think we know it. This is the biggest hindrance on this path, because what happens then is that if we claim we know it, the it has to be an object. And if the it is an object, what we know is not what we are. So if we think we know what we are, because we know it, and I know that, it stays in knowledge. Knowledge is always a memory. You cannot access what you are via the mind or via a memory. It has to be experienced where we already are. Right? You can't access it via a memory because it's already there. You can only remember things that aren't currently there. Right? I don't need to remember the camera is in front of me. It's in front of me. Where would I need to remember that from? It's already there. So in the same way, our true nature is already there. You can't remember that. So how can we ever say that we know our true nature? Makes no sense. It's already there. When I am knowing the phone in front of me, I don't know it. This is the craziest thing. I don't know it. It's not knowledge to me. So in the same way, our true nature is not knowledge. Knowledge is an object that we must access via the mind. What we are is not an object you can access via the mind. So what happens is we have awakening experiences, and then we make the grand assumption that we are fundamentally the it that we think we know. But in that moment, we're not actually being it. We are knowing it, and the it is an object, and we instantly bring ourselves into separation. So the thing to see here is that in order to see the truth, we have to absolutely get used to knowing nothing. We have to have no idea, literally. Think of that. All this time, all this path is to get me to just have absolutely no idea? Absolutely yes. You have to remove knowledge. You have to remove your dependency on objective knowledge, knowledge of things. Because the minute you know something, you don't know what you are. The minute you know something, you assume what you are. You prevent yourself from seeing yourself because you're accessing the mind. So the minute you know nothing, truly know nothing, the minute you have no idea, you're in as good as the truth. So the biggest thing that I could ever possibly share, I think the biggest realization for me on this path was when I come to the realization that I have absolutely no idea. I thought I knew what I was. And this is the type of stuff that we go through in my community. I thought I had a clue. I thought I knew what I was. I'd had copious amounts of awakening experiences and glimpses through various means, various non-means. And I thought I had an idea until finally I come to the realization that I actually have no idea, because I think that I'm infinite, but I still suffer. So something must be incoherent here. The incoherency was that my knowledge of myself was knowledge of myself. It was knowledge. I accessed it through the mind. It was a memory. It was an interpretation. It wasn't a lived experience. The minute I seen, I have no idea. Literally, no idea. I had no more ideas left about what I was. The minute you have no ideas left about what you are living it. Because what you are it isn't an idea, it isn't an object, and it cannot be accessed via the mind. So the whole entire path is strictly there so that you simply come to the conclusion that you have absolutely no idea. And from that place of complete surrendering all objective knowledge, do you then have access to seeing the truth? In fact, you're already in it. Anything that comes beyond that point is a bonus. It's a cherry on the top. But from that place, you are in the adventurer mode. You are in the pure adventurer mode. There's no resistance to your experience left. You're not trying to change yourself to do other things, and you're no longer assuming that you're finite either. Most people believe that they're finite without any evidence to suggest that they are actually limited. Most finite beliefs, in other words, most beliefs that we're finite, they're there purely because we assume that they're there. If you look in your experience, you never find these limitations. I have a free community where I help people look through and see these limitations so that they can finally end up with realizing they have absolutely no idea. Right now, you probably have assumptions that you are finite or that you're infinite. There's only two. This is the craziest thing. Most people think they need to stop seeing I'm finite and I need to know that I'm infinite. No, because the minute you make that assumption, you prevent yourself from seeing the truth. You access it via memory, and all of a sudden you start to fall into separation again. So my main goal through my free calls and free group is to help people see through those limitations that they think they have, and help them see that those limitations aren't actually there. You do that long enough, I mean, things get pretty clear pretty quickly. If you'd like to join, the link's in the description. I'm Sarjan. I have absolutely no fucking idea. See you soon. Take care. Bye.